Everybody, hope you're having a good day, whether it's the morning or the afternoon or wherever you are. I'm going to be doing a random code stream right now. So I've been playing a lot of game playthroughs, but I occasionally like to do this and I like to keep it random. Hence the name of the stream is always Random Code. Whenever the spirit moves me, I'm going to do this. So what I'm going to do this morning is just work on at least two features in this CSLA generator that I've created that handles CSLA generator serialization, which handles serialization in CSLA, but does it with a source generator. So one of them is going to be pretty simple. Hopefully it's going to be pretty simple. That's the one that you see here. And then the other one will be a little bit more complex. And then depending on time, I may decide to try to sneak in one more. We'll see. Depends on how long this goes. So without further ado, let's get into the first one. And I picked this on purpose because this is a very gentle introduction. In fact, if you look at my contributions, you'll notice if you look right here that it's kind of tapered off in the last couple of months, and which is fine to me. I personally don't believe that what's the word I'm looking for? Your worth as a software developer is somehow dependent upon how much you contribute in GitHub. That's quite a ridiculous thing that I've sometimes heard people referring to, and that's not true. In fact, this is just because, one, I've been busy with other things and stuff that I do at work, stuff in life, and so this just kind of fell off the wayside, which actually, if I look at like previous years, it's not uncommon. You'll see like here, there's a gap of about a month and a half. Here's a gap. 2022, same thing. You know, you sometimes see gaps here and there. And it's just because other things kick in life. And so I just don't do as much here. But I think now there's things off my plate. And so I'm going to not only do stuff with this, but I'm going to start making more videos with my free code session stuff, because there's some features in Rocks that I want to work on and record them that way. So I want to make sure that I have my stream on my phone here. There we go. And check this to that. Okay. And at the end of the stream, I'll try to remember to maybe go through some of the things I plan on working on recording with Rocks, because there's a couple of things that I think are pretty interesting. So in any event, this one should be pretty simple. So it's one that I'm passing in is not sealed, or that's a parameter to a method. And let's bump the font up just a little bit more. That should be good. Okay. So this one is taking a negative, and I don't like that. So, and it's only one place that this is happening. So, wait, let's make sure of that. I think there might be more. Yeah, because there's the reader and the writer. This is also the fun of when you've been away from code for a while. It's like, here's the writer one. So there's two. And when you're away from code, it's like, what was I doing again? How do I code? How do I rename things? So it's not just a rename. We also want it to be the correct code. And so what we need to do is not only change read and write, but then we also have to look at where it's being called. Or if I'm generating code that calls this, then we need to make sure that we're doing the right thing as well. I don't think this is actually called from, it might be. It might be called from generated code. So we're going to have to look for that. got my coffee going on, so that's good. Okay, so let's flip the logic first. Let's call it is sealed. And then that means that this now goes here, and this goes here. Simple. Same thing for this one. We call this is sealed. And then we flip it. And again, this is just more of an aesthetic in that I like things that have the positive. Actually, one of the things that I sometimes do is instead of taking a bool, is I'll create an enumeration because it reads better at the call site. When you see false there, unless you put the parameter name with a colon after it to specify what the parameter name is, it can be a little difficult to understand what true or false means in that context. So sometimes having an enum actually makes it more explicit. Now in this case, it's a little different. We were passing in not and saying if it wasn't sealed. So now we have to kind of just flip the logic here and go is not. If it isn't sealed, then do this stuff. Okay. Now let's look at anywhere where this is called. Lots of places. And so now everywhere where we're called, well, that's generated code. Well, good. That just confirmed that. So I have tests, and I also have integration tests, and the integration tests actually will test the generator as it's running. So, which is good because then that it's actually not just testing did the generated code output match what you expected from like a diff perspective. So yeah, this is being called from generated code. Let's actually look for references again. And are all of these in? It's nice if you follow naming conventions because I can look at these and go, are these all .g.cs? Yes, they are. They are all done there. So all I have to do is change where I'm actually calling write in my generation code, which one moment, please. That's going to take a while for my brain to kick in and go, where am I actually calling that? So if I say here in this project, that's interesting though that I was looking for, I was looking for all references to write, not that. Okay, so if I say write that in the current project, where is this being done? Because there's so many writes, but a lot of these are actually writing to the they're writing to like this. If I say binary writer, yeah, it's saying write. It's actually writing to a binary writer. What we want it to do is find out which one's actually calling this one. And so we don't want it to be this dot writer, not this one either, because that's just the binary writer. So generator graph, this is a public. So you just have to give me a second because I need to kick in my brain to go, where am I actually calling a write in terms of where in generated code am I doing this? And it would be in a builder. To-dos. We always have to-dos around. Business list. Would it be a custom builder? Read custom. No, that wouldn't be it. That's a different thing. General serialization builder. Okay, this does that. That's the core of it. We go into like business base builder. So we say get state, get type, we get the field and hierarchy. We build the read operation. Context reader read. These are just reading specific ones. Which may be fine. Who knew that trying to find out where this is actually... See, I always say this. I always say that something that I think is going to be easy actually ends up not being so much. Let's make that a little smaller because I got to read it all in one line. Here's the is sealed. So actually, this might be a good way to find it. So this is a stereotype builder. And we're seeing here that all we'd have to do is flip the bits on these. Like that. And then actually, I think it's saying these parentheses are probably unnecessary. As you do. Unnecessary parentheses. There we go. Okay, so that's 2 of them. There may be more. By the way, where did I just see a whole bunch of C# code? Then a business base build? Yeah. So here's a trick that I just found from a site that I'm considering doing in Rocks. Let's see if I can... If you do this, and I don't know if this is a preview thing or not. Look at that. So by putting this comment before, and I think it's not just raw string literals. I could be wrong on this, but I think it is any string. But what this does is it actually highlights this code as C# code. Now, of course, if I do something like that, it's not doing anything with the code to make sure that it's actually correct per se, in the sense that if you miss a parenthesis like that, it just doesn't colorize it correctly. But it doesn't tell you, at least I don't think it will, that there's any errors with what you're doing. So, but at least it's a visual contextual clue to go, there might be something wrong with this. Apparently, you can also add this to the string syntax attribute now. There's a C# preview, something like that, C# test value that you can pass in. Now, when you do that for JSON, it will tell you if the JSON is incorrect. So that's why I'm kind of interested to see if they're, could they do that with this? Because this is code that's actually going to be generated and injected essentially into another assembly. So I don't think you could actually do that. But that's just an interesting little trick that I found, and I'm considering diving into that a little bit more to see how that actually works and what it does or doesn't do. Anyway, we got to go back to finding out all the usages of his seal. Now, these are correct. What these will do, though, is it will break all of my test code, not the integration tests, but the test code in terms of, I used to think it was going to pass in a false, or now it's true, or vice versa. But that's why you write tests, because you want to find out when you've broken things. Okay, so this one is just a property copy. That's fine. These are the ones I just changed. Okay. This one is now needing to be flipped, and we can get rid of the parentheses. Okay. And then this one is, I believe, the same thing. Yep. So let's get over to the exclamation point and remove the parentheses. Okay. And then come back over here. Right, derivation. That's fine because we want to know if we're supposed to be making it sealed or not. So that one we can keep. That's not about calling a method. This one. Yes, we want to change it to that. Thank you, IntelliCode, or whatever fancy feature just got added. And then this one should probably be the same thing. Yep. Okay, so now I believe this one is completely fixed in the code. But of course, if we go to my tests here, I'm guessing that if I run tests, some of them are going to break. I hope they only break, though, from a standpoint of a false is a true or a true is a false. And those should be relatively easy to fix. And then I got to shut down startup again, run the integration tests. Those should run. Those should hopefully run. There's also been a change with the testing source generator stuff that Microsoft provides that fixes a problem, I believe, with them binding to specific test assemblies like NUnit or XUnit, because I've noticed a problem that the update from NUnit 3 to NUnit 4 breaks the one from Microsoft, and that it thinks there's a method there that isn't there anymore. And that's fine in the sense that NUnit goes from 3 to 4. That is, by semver, a breaking change. But that breaks then that you can't go up to the next version of their stuff. So I think what they've done, and I haven't looked at it in any detail, is have like a generic version of their testing thing and not have specific ones for each one. I'm not sure. Anyway, we have 8 failing here, which again isn't unexpected. Come on, where's the tab focus? Oh, come on. Let's see. Yeah, that's a true, and now it's false. And I bet, let's just look through these all quick just to make sure that they look like they're all because we flipped a bit. Yeah, I'm guessing that's, just want to make sure. It's always good to do some evaluation first before you actually dive in and just change stuff. It's one of the things I've learned doing this for as long as I've done it. There is value in actually spending a little bit of time prepping for what you want to change and not just YOLOing it, going in and changing it. And even when you do that, sometimes I mean, at some point you just have to go in and try to change something, and then you realize, oh crap, that doesn't work at all, you know. So there's a balance there. As a lot of things in life, balance is good. Okay, so this one probably means this one should be false, and this one should be false, and then this one, I don't think this ends up calling reader right, because that's just not, in this case, what happens. And again, because I haven't touched this in a while, there's some refresh in my head of what was it that I was doing? How did this work? What exactly was going on in my head when I built this? Okay. So again, that comment would be really nice, because then you get, the one thing I don't quite like about it is it highlights your code here then. You know, it puts this like light or grayish highlighting around all of it. And I'm guessing it's doing that as also a visual indicator that this isn't your real code. This is code that's within a string that we've been told to highlight. So I'm guessing that's why they're doing that. And that kind of makes sense. So, so these are probably flipped. And then these are probably flipped. Okay. That's flipped. Huh. Okay. Oops. That needs to be a true. That needs to be a true. Oh, those properties might have been read-only. That's why we didn't, or write-only or whatever. That's why we only saw it. And then this one doesn't have it. Okay. 3 more. This would be false. And that would be false. Again, when you test source generators, this is highly valuable to have these like snapshot-ish type of approach where you have, this is what I expect coming out, and then you do this and it does all the comparison for you. It's very valuable. It just has the unfortunate thing that if you change what your code is generating, now you suddenly have to go through and change a whole bunch of generated code, and it's just tedium. But it's unfortunately, or fortunately, it's worth it because again, writing tests, you got to do it. Okay, there should have been one in here because it said this one failed. Maybe it's done. Yeah, here it is. Okay. And then that should be a false. Okay. All right, let's run all tests again. Wait. Oh, wrong keystroke. Wrong keystroke. And what do we get now? Hopefully less than 8, because it was 8 before. Three failed. That's slightly concerning. Ah, just ones that we missed. Ah, those are sneaky. Those are sneaky. I missed those. And that's sometimes what I'll do is I'll just completely delete all the code, run it, grab what it said it emitted, because it's just easier that way. It's just easier that way. So this was probably a true and now it's a false. Okay. Does this test run now? No, well, it's not going to run that way if I put a random T in the code. Okay, so that passes now. What's up with this one? So there's a load property. Oh, did I just miss that? Ah. Really? Okay, I guess. That passes now. Well, let's see what this does. What is being complained about here? So for each var, and then that. So it's not this. This one, these should be false. And again, this is why sometimes creating your own enum is nice for values, because it just reads easier. All right, do we get all passing tests here? If it do, shut down, start up again, and see what happens. Okay. Is this really adding a feature? Absolutely not. This is just purely that I think the code underneath the scenes reads a little bit better because it's saying, is it sealed? In all honesty, it should probably be an enum. Sealed, not sealed. Sealed state, sealed, not sealed. Stop thinking about that, Jason. Don't do that, because I'm going to go through and try to actually do that, and that's going to just be more work. But, okay, so now, if I run all the tests, what happens? At least the build succeeds. Well, it'd just be flipping a flag, but it would change the behavior of the underlying serialization. So hopefully we catch this now in an integration test if we broke anything. And if we did, I'm going to cry. But that's why we have branches. They all passed? Okay. So I said a simple thing, and what, I'm 30 minutes into the stream, and I know I was talking about other things, but number 7, flipped the bit on the method parameter. All right, and then I'm just going to merge it in. What I do on a lot of my on my code is, because it's typically just me, is I'll do what you're seeing here, which is I'll merge this branch in, and then I'll push. And so now we flip the bit on that, and then I'll just delete the branch. Should I make a PR? Should I have like a separate branch, that I fork my own here? But this is, they're just my repos. If I was doing something that was like a project at work or an online project with other people, like committing a feature to a repository that currently works out there, yes, I would make my own fork, or I'd make a branch and do a PR or that type of stuff. But for these, it's just my stuff, so I don't really care. All right. So this one can be closed. One less thing on the list. Okay, next one is this one. This one's a little bit longer, so this might take a little bit of time. So one of the things that's currently in CSLA is that you can actually customize the serialization process. And the way I understand it, I used to use CSLA a lot, about 10-ish years ago, and then just career, work, etc., what I was doing, it just kind of phased out. It wasn't something that I used that much. But I still, because I have done work using it and also committing some work to it, I still sometimes occasionally like to dive back in. And that's what this whole serialization thing is could we make serialization faster in CSLA? And I had done work with Rocky in the past, looking at the stream itself and figuring out any spots where we could reduce the amount of bytes that were being put in the stream and how it was figuring that out. And there was like one PR that I did, this is years ago. And I remember Rocky and I were looking at the PR. I think we were at some conference, and so we went into one of our hotel rooms and put the PR up on the TV in the hotel room, and we're talking about it. And I eventually figured out that you could save. It wasn't like a ton, but it was a savings, and it was consistent. So, but it wasn't like an order of magnitude. And what you're actually seeing with this source generator approach, with some results that I've had, is you are seeing, like with the mobile formatter in one test, 24K allocated. With the generator, it's 4K. With the mobile formatter with the business list base, is that a meg? And this is, it's a 16% or whatever that is less. And it's also typically, was that 3 times faster? So it's substantial. It's not small. It's not like a small, good perf gain. It's a really big perf gain. But one of the things that when I built this that I was missing is a way to do customization. And the way I interpret this as, when you use CSLA, you create these things called managed backing fields. You have these property info fields that basically relate to a property. And that's just how things work. And then when you do serialization, those just come along for the ride. And my serializer honors that. That's what it's actually looking for, are these property info fields, and then creating the reads and the writes for them. But you may want to do something where you have a private field that isn't managed, but it's like a calculated field that, based on other fields changing, you want that to be there. And you may want to save it, or you may not. It may be just transient data that doesn't actually get saved when you persist it, but you want it live there when somebody's looking at your code. It could be like the result of a complex calculation that you don't save that result to the database or to your data store. But what you do is, when your object is hydrated or dehydrated, whatever, deserialized, and then you're looking at it in your UI, that calculation field is always live. And so you may have a property there that you don't want CSLA to know about, but you do want that to be part of serialization if it goes back and forth across the wire. Maybe. I mean, that's one potential reason for it. So essentially, there's a way that's embedded in CSLA where you can do things like, I want to add or retrieve things from serialization, and I want to handle that custom my own. And so I thought of a way to do that here. I was thinking of maybe just adding it to my one interface that you have to have everything participate in this. So there is a iGenerator serializable. And so all of your business objects have to derive from this. And that's just the way this works. Just like mobile formatter, everything has to have a mobile formatter in place. Otherwise it doesn't work. So if you buy into this, you have to have your serialization paths generated for all your business objects, which just means you literally reference my NuGet package, and that's it. Because then it looks that, and there's one other thing I forgot. And then there's this attribute. You put this attribute on your business objects. Then that's it, and then that works. Okay. But it's just get state and set state. What if you want your business object to do custom serialization? And so I thought of adding to this interface, like get custom state and set custom state, in that they would be DIMs, default interface members. So they would have a default implementation, which is a do nothing. Okay. Which is great. Problem is, this is all in my source generator project, which is targeting .NET Standard 2.0. You have to do that for various reasons, but that's just the way it works. So I couldn't put methods on an interface with default implementations here. It just wouldn't work. So then I thought, well, maybe I make another assembly that I reference with it, and it gets all messy. And then I was like, no, let's not do that. And then I thought, well, I think there's actually an easy way around this, which is to have. I originally had, see, here's the idea, where you'd have that there, but I couldn't do that. And then I realized, well, maybe what we do is have an interface like this that you implement if you want to do this. And then it's on you. And then what I'll do is in my generated code, as if I'm deserializing or serializing a business object, and this would only be for business objects. You can't just add this on any arbitrary class that is maybe the type of a property in your business object, and I'll call this. I would only look for this with business objects, is to say, if this object I'm looking at, it is of this type, then either call deserialize or serialize on it. And then it's up to the implementer to do whatever they want to do with the reader and the writer. Okay. So I think this is as simple as just adding this interface and then at the appropriate points checking for this to say if it does implement this, then make the call. And if it doesn't, then just you don't do anything. And I think that should work. So let's make our branch. This is just my convention, is I take the title of the issue and then put the number in front. That's just a convention I follow. I find that to be easy. So let's take this, come into here, and what do we call this? Generator serializable customization. It's as good a name as any, right? So let's grab that, put that there, come back here, grab all this, put that there. Except we want to have in the same namespace. There. Okay, cool. So, and I was thinking, do you pass this over? Or do you pass in what you're seeing here, which is just the reader and the writer? And I'm thinking, for right now, just these two, because it's up to you as to how you're going to save this. And maybe you want to have, like, these two contexts have a lot more information and potentially things that, oh, that's interesting. What's this? Unnecessary cast. And then completely screw up my formatting. I like finding things like that. I like when Visual Studio tells me that there's like slightly things I can change. And if I remember right, I can probably do, whatever. Like new expression can be simplified. It's collection, like this one is saying I could do collection expressions. Boom. Love it. Yeah, and these are all in tests. I don't care about that. This is assert that. Oh, yeah, we should do that. Use has count. Okay. So, again, analyzers. So helpful right now. I'm not so much primary constructors. I was actually using that on a project at work, and we decided to do that. I warmed up to it more. I'm still a little on the fence with it. What are these? Oh, now your statement went away. How can no? In this case I can do that. Yeah, I'm okay with that because you know that the thing you're calling is this. What I'm also finding out is using new here. Target type new is great for a field. Using it when you're passing in an object to a parameter where you're newing it up there, not so much. It makes it really hard to read the code. So I don't do that there. Anyway, I got distracted. That happens. So I think I'm just going to leave it though as being you get the reader or you get the writer. Okay. Now I make this, and the one thing I have to do now is say at the right point, at the right point that I call for this custom serialization. And what's actually interesting here is this shouldn't break any of my generated code, because my generated code actually calls this method that's already baked. We don't generate this. And so if we're going to read and we know it's a duplicate, then we just get the reference. If we know if it's a value and we seal it, here we do get state. I think here is the case where we're going to say if new value is iGenerator, new value customization, then we will call the serialize this reader. Boom. And we're done. Well, with this. Now that was this is the reader context. What about the writer context? So the same thing. I think here when we say set state, because this is a duplicate, this is null, this is the only time we actually want to write. So now we want to say if, what's this? Set state. Oh, and the sealed is here. Okay. Right. Okay. Sorry. Again, because sometimes I got to sit there and think about what I'm doing here. And the value is, okay, if value, and we already determined that it's not null, is iGenerator value customization. And this would be serialize, passing in this dot writer. Writer. There we go. Okay. And then we're done. We're done with this. My guess is that this is not going to break tests. It should not break integration tests either. But we need to add an integration test that will say, hey, let's do some custom serialization and see if it survives round tripping. Okay. So let's run the tests here. This will be ironic that this one actually gets done faster than flipping the bit on a parameter. And this just takes a while because it has to load stuff. It has to do comparisons and so on. Okay, none failed. Had to get that formatting. I saw it off by one. I had to get that formatting correctly. That's good. Now, since I made a bunch of changes, we got to shut down and start up again. That's just because again, it's the way that this all loads in Visual Studio and whatnot. It won't reload your assembly. There's technical reasons why. And so it's just simpler to reload the whole solution in my case. Now, if I run all the tests, none of them should fail. But again, I got to add a test or two to handle this case. And one other thing I don't want to forget is my change log. And I should add it for the previous one, even though it was, yeah, it's a change. But I'm in 0 point something. I don't consider myself, this is all experimental work. So I'm not like feeling like this is a thing that has to be. So once you get to, good, all of them passed. Once you get to like a 1.0, then yes, you got to start being a lot more careful with that stuff. Okay, so what do I want to do here? Graphs. What do I want to do here? Just trying to think of where would the right place be with this. Those are Boolean tests. Those are string tests. Oh, those are reference types within them. We want to have just a business-based test. Custom test. What's this? Oh, we're putting that into, what's this complaining about? Fixed formatting. Pull create up. What are you, why are you giving me a, yes, because the way that this works in CSLA is you mark your operations this way, and then so it thinks, well, you're not using it, but it will be. It definitely will be. And then we do get property, subproperty with these values. But what we really want to do is let's actually create called customization tests. Okay. Do I have just a simple, I don't want base data and derived data. I just want I want something simple. Why didn't I write something simple? Here it is. Here's a good simple one. I like this. Okay. So get rid of that. Get rid of that. Public static class. And then we'll do this, except we're going to call this customization. That create and fetch is fine. We'll have contents here. That's fine. But then we also want to have a private int custom, which we'll just say is equal to 0. Why are you complaining? Oh, yeah, whatever. Okay. So we'll say business base, and then we'll say I generator customization. And now we have to implement that. Okay. All right. So in our case, to implement this should be pretty simple. And now we just want to say reader. We want to say this dot custom is equal to that. Why are you? Oh, come on. I'm saying it's not. Fine. Whatever. Whatever. We should be correct here, which is I can say ANE throw if null reader. There. And now on the serialization side, we can do the same thing. We can say ANE throw if null writer, and then we'll say writer.write except we're going to say this dot custom. There. Okay. And actually, now that I think about it, I want to make this a public int custom, and then we'll say get and set. And I'm going to pull this down here because I like my properties where they should be next to each other. So then this changes that. This changes that. Okay. And now I have state tests here. And all I care about is, let's just do create and fetch. Actually, what I really care about is we change the state. So if I take this and then I change the state and then I do serialization, what I want to check is that the contents are correct, specifically for the custom field. So change state on create and then change state on fetch. So we'll do those as tests. Okay. So we want to have the name of the type here. And then what we want to have is data.custom is equal to 33. Just a random value. Make sure that we're casting that back correctly. And now what we want to do is say assert that new data.custom is equal to 33. Does this work? It failed. Yeah. Why did it fail? Why did it fail? Well, what we should see, and we can debug this, I believe. Assuming I'm in debug. No, I mean you need to be in debug. Is do these ever get hit? Maybe I'm doing this in the wrong spot. Okay, so let's... They're never getting hit. So if I say formatter serialize, we're going to say set state on the generator graph. Right. Because we write the qualified name. And then here, we should be calling right. I mean, that should be happening. And it's, okay, that's not either. Wait a minute. Does it happen here? No, it doesn't. But it passes. No, don't change that. Don't change that here. Unless you can't even get into the debugger with the, wait. Yeah. Maybe that's why I'm not seeing us step into it. Let's just make sure. This is going to cause nothing to happen anyway. I am in debug. Okay, so we do get into here. What happens here? So we're going to say oh, yes. Oh, yes. Well, it changes things slightly. If the type that I'm implementing, yeah, we don't do it there. When we call set state here in the generated code, I was wrong. I was wrong. If Rocky's watching this, he can now clip that because I just said I'm wrong. So yeah, we don't want to do it here. That's not the right spots to do this. We need to actually put that in the generated code. So and then that's going to cause generated code to fail potentially. But then we can have a test in tests as well to handle that case. So this is just that. I believe we're going to have to do this for all these types, because you could have a custom serialization of a list. You could have a custom serialization. We want to do it once we've gotten past what we are doing here and then writing that code here. So give me about 5 minutes. I'm going to take a bit of a break. So it's at 10:24. I'll say 10:35-ish Central Standard Time. I'm going to take a bit of a break, get some more coffee and stuff, but then I will be back and I will add this code in. And again, I think this should be pretty simple because we just need to put it in all the right spots. Again, it's going to break a bunch of code. But then we just say, hey, if you're doing this, then on the reader or the writer, pass this in. And then it'll make it somewhat easier that if in the future we want to pass a little context in, we just change it there. But I need to take a break. So I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. If you're watching, please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Give me about 10 minutes. I'll be right back. Okay, back. So, as I realized before, I think what I need to do is say if this is, now I got to be careful here, global, because we have to fully qualify everything. One of the fun things about source generators. Customization. I don't have to worry about naming things here. One of the things I've mentioned before with rocks is I have to be very conscious and careful about how I name things because of parameter names that are coming in could collide with variables that I want to declare in my generated code. In this case, I don't think I have to worry about that. So then here I would just say customization, and we're in the reader. We would just say read off of this, off of context dot reader. There. That should be, oh, I'm sorry. Actually, let's get state stat state. Since I can make a choice here, let's say these naming. Naming is hard. Naming is fun. The thing I'm wondering about is, should the customization have the same names as this? Because this is get state and set state. I like get custom state, set custom state. Okay, we're going with it. Because this would be get state, this would be get custom state. And it's the implementation on itself that has to do this. Okay. Now, I have to do this for both the reader and the writer, I believe, in all of these. Not the array builder, not the builder helpers here. I would say it here. Claims principal builder. I don't think we really care. This is kind of a one-off case that we're talking to Rocky about that he kind of handles. So this is the reader. Is it possible that it probably is. Probably is possible that a command base could have its own, so we could say indent. No. Indent writer.write lines. And I believe that would be, yes, we are calling get state internally on something. And so we would say if we are also customization, then I want to get my stuff. Okay. Custom builder. That's something extra. Nullable value type builder. I don't think. That's only for if you have like it's not a stereotype. What we really should have been doing is basing off of stereotypes like there, but that's okay. And then we can grab what we did from customization builder. Do that there. A list base. would imagine it's probably the same thing. Build reader. Except we can just sneak this code into... Whoa, that's way too much. Damn it. I don't want all that there because that's actually going to get into the... Like all that extra tab space is going to get into the generated code, and I don't want to have to deal with that. Okay, so just did read-only. We did read-only list. We did not do read-only list because what I said is, as I was trying to copy this, that we can put that over there. Okay. And now say if we are also customizable for whatever reason, go off and do that. I think it's just read-only command business. So we're only doing this for the stereotypes, which that makes sense that I've gone through this now. Okay. So those are the reads. Now we need to do the writes. So if we just look at what I changed here, we could say for the reader and for the writer, we could throw that in here as well. Except now, what we're going to do is say set custom state with the writer. There. And now we just have to do that everywhere. That's build reader, build writer. Do that here. No, not there. There. Just want to make sure I get all the spacing and everything correctly. That's set custom state. Okay. Command base. We want build writer. Except we need to do this special little bit of code in build writer. And make sure we're doing the right thing, which is to say set custom state writer. And then read-only base builder. That was the reader. We need to do the writer. Not write operation, writer. And we need to set custom state on the writer. And I think there's just one more, this one, which we'll copy and paste this code because I bet in build writer, where do we do this? We did this before the read only, but after that, just to be consistent with where we're making the calls. Okay, we don't want all that space there because we don't do that. Oh, whatever. Okay, so we want to say set custom state writer. All right, does this build? Should. Now this is going to break my unit tests. I know this already. It's going to break it. But what it shouldn't do is that's state data. Where did I put my... I'm just trying to remember, where did I actually put my... Was it in list tests? No. Custom test. No. If I say here, build this assembly. Yeah, we should have a failure because... Right. Where the hell did I put this? Customization tests. Oh, in the graphs. Of course, that's where I put it. Sorry, just checking some messages here real quick. All right. Yes, you're right. This would be get custom state and set custom state. Now you should shut up, and you do. Okay, so I'm going to shut down startup again, because now the generated code should have the calls to this. Hopefully that fixes it. Hopefully that fixes it. I am not taking a break. I'm going to get some coffee, though. Yeah, so I got this as a... We do Secret Santa at work for Christmas, and somebody got me this keychain. No coffee, no worky. So that's what I live by. All right, I'm not going to run the unit tests because I know those are going to break. But here's the kicker. Does this pass? Well, does it build? Maybe we've got a problem with our generated code first. Yeah. Well, that sucks. That means an expression of type state data. Expression of type. What did I done break? This is the unfortunate thing of what I should do is now run a unit test and just see what did I bork. Because why don't I just have a simple? I guess I could just add it. But multiple properties. Or it's I just want to have, like this is string, this is child data. Let's just run this, and I know it's going to break, but I'm curious as to where it's going to break. And this will be fun to read. Let's open the test log. So this is... Why am I even making a check? Now that I think about this, why wouldn't I just call on myself set custom state? I actually, when I just saw this, I realized that I did have that thought. I didn't express it. But couldn't I see if it is customizable? And if that flag exists, then emit this code. I don't have to check it at, that's wasted cycles. Either emit this one line of code or don't. I like that. Now, can I make that happen? Where is the right place to do this? The thing that I am debating in my head is we want this generated for a given type. And so this serialization model is what we're targeting. Like, say you have customer, and that's a business base, and you put the attribute on it. Well, now that is we only do it for classes and interfaces. You don't have a struct as a business object. Although I guess you technically could if you implemented all the interfaces. I don't think I've ever seen that, but I guess it's possible. But that is the type. What we now need to find out is, does that type derive from that customization interface? And if it does, then we want to say, is it customizable? Because that's what we're passing in, I think, for all the serialization. So that's the thing we have to figure out. Can we do this? And I think I can. I just don't know if I actually do it in here. I may be stealing some code from not property info fields. I don't care about that. Derives from. Does it derive from? Okay, so what I can do is, I think off the compilation I can say customization interface is compilation get type by metadata name. Now, off to the rocks. I think I do this in rocks. I want to make sure I'm passing in the right get type by metadata type of task full name. Oh, okay, cool. So it's type of I generator serial full name. And so what I could say here is have a internal bool is customizable get. And so what we would say here is, does the business object type derives from that? And this is a question mark. I'm going to say yes all the time. And so now we can just say here, this dot is customizable like that. Okay. Now we go back into all of our code, and unfortunately I can't inline it here. But what I can do is say, if this dot if model dot is customizable, then we need to do an indent writer right line. This actually, what does this look like currently? Compare with unmodified. That's not most quite. Like, we have all this space. Do we have that space? I don't know. Get view history. Let's look at it. So we don't. We We indent. With each read operations just return you a string, and then you write a line after it. So if I look, you're probably wondering, why is he caring about all this? So oh, because we do a write line after that? I'm still a little confused as to what. We don't have a space there, but we would want to say write line, right? After the read operation. So if we say like string builder, why can't I? Oh, because I'm not in the right. If I say string builder build reader, that's doing a write line in and of itself. Right? So we do a build read operation. Oops, I did not want to print the screen. If I do like a nullable type, that's pretty complicated. Do a value type. I write a line, but then I always put a line after it. It doesn't make any sense. But whatever I do, I should, yeah. I want to write this, and then I want to do that, and then I get rid of that. Which I could do is write lines. Write lines is an extension method I made that I know is going to break it up. I think this will be quicker because I would just do that line and then that line, and that's done. Okay. It still doesn't explain, though, why I was getting that error, but let's change these. So again, we're going to go through the ones that I did up here. So business base we've already done. Business list base we have to, crap. the thing I'm crapping about is because I wanted to have this is all one line, and now I'm going to have to break this up. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's just no. Because now, see, I don't know why it does this. It gets like all wonky. And so what we want is this. And then an indent, right or right lines. That. And then, yeah, it's still spaced over like that, and then we're good. Okay, so it's not a big deal. But now what we want to do is say what I did here. Which is if our model is customizable, then we do a get custom state. Otherwise, we don't even admit that at all. Okay. Let's actually do this. Because in that case, I want to have if I can get this to work in integration tests, I'll go back later and change all the unit tests and the formatting, because that's boring to watch on a stream. At this point, I just care about getting the code correct, if that makes sense. So here we can do this. Essentially what I just, well, sort of. We would just say here, right line, that, and get rid of that. And then we don't do this anymore. Okay. That's command base builder, 2 more, and then we do the writers. Here we can copy pasta. Come on. There we go. And probably the same thing. Or not. Crap. Okay, but we did that here. So we're going to have to break it up here. Okay. Block body. Okay. Except here is where we break it. And then we do another indent, right, or right lines. Except we want to push that over there. And then we take that out and we put that in, right? Right. Except this has to be pushed over, because if you think about it, this is fun. If you think about it, it's actually over there. So we need it to line up with this, because this code is actually interjecting that. That customization needs to land there. So actually we need to come over here and do the same thing and push that out. Okay. All right. So I think now I've got the readers in place. Now I have to do the writers. So if I go to the writer, I can do what I did in the reader probably, which is up here, grab that, and then put that there, take this out, right? Yeah. And then we'll say set with weeder writer. There we go. Okay, so that's business list space. This is business list space. And we're probably going to have to do the same thing with the writer and break that up. Why? Why does it not honor? Oh my, that's one line. Yeah, I should actually make this a little bit smaller, because then it's easier for me to read. Okay, so here, and then I'll get rid of this for just a moment. Here we'll say indent, writer, right lines. Yep, except you are there. And now that's good. And now we put this here. And now we say sets custom state. Writer. There we go. Okay. It's business list base. Command base. That was the reader. Now we look for the writer. And instead of that, we now do this, except we're going to say set with the writer. Oh, crap. This. Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. This. Come on, people. Should be watching me as I do this. Correcting me when I am wrong. Okay, business list base. This. This. Command base, this, read-only base, this, and then we just did this. Okay, so now let's actually go back to make sure we are in the spot that we're at. We did the reader, which is this. We did the writer, which is that. The read-only base builder, we did the reader. What are you complaining about here? Oh my God, that's such a bad choice. It's like, no, don't do that. This is the writer, so we're going to say set writer. And one more time with feeling. We're going to have to break this up again. Okay. Block body. And then here is where we break it. And then we're going to put that there. No, let's not do that just yet. Let's take that out. Let's put indent, writer, right lines, that, move over there. Except now we're going to put this here. And this is set. Measure twice, cut once. Let's go through all this again. Business base builder. Get custom state. Set custom state. Okay. Get custom state. Set custom state. Okay. And when you're generating code, you got to be really careful with this because one character just messes up everything. So get custom state. Set custom state. Read-only base builder. Custom state reader. Set custom state writer. And reader and writer. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just say, does this build here? Just this assembly. It does. Okay, so let's clear, do that, shut down, start up again. I want to make sure that my integration test runs. That's all I care about. And then I can stop the stream. Because I know my unit tests are going to break because I've added code. Actually, no. No, they shouldn't. Well, they may break because of formatting. Maybe I put an extra tab or something, but it shouldn't break in terms of the code itself because none of the stuff that I have defined has customization built in just yet. Now it succeeds. That's a good sign. Customization test. Does this pass or not? Yay! Clap. It works. It is alive. It works. Yay. That's fun. Again, I always have, it's always fun. I want to say F12, go to definition. And you won't. Should be. It's not picking up the actual generated code, but it did run. if I actually now go to integration tests and I say run all the tests, no, why would you do that? That's not what I said. I said run tests. They all pass. And these are extremely quick because these are actually the generated code running. This is not like a comparison of the code against the template. Let's see what passes or not in tests here. I wouldn't be surprised if some fail. Yeah, 2 fail. Let's see if they're because of formatting. Yeah, like that line should be there and it's not. Same thing there. And this is probably the same thing. Yeah, like if whether you do customization or not, you need to have that extra line there. But that's okay. That's just white space. We don't care about that. What I do care about though is I want to have a customization generator test. Customization. Okay. And now I want to steal code that I just did here. Yes, so I don't care about this. Right, I want to have that there because that's my custom property. We have contents here, just so we have contents here. But now I want to go to implementing that, which means I need to have these 2 in there. Why does it do it twice? Sometimes it like pastes twice. I don't understand why it does that. Okay, so we were saying we implement this interface. The partial class will implement the iGenerator serializable. But now we have these 2 in here. So now what we should see in our generated code is, let's first see what we generate. We should actually see a call to the readers and writers. Now this will fail because we're comparing against an empty string, but that's okay because now what I want to do is open the test log, see set custom state, get custom state. And I'm glad that it actually failed the first time because I failed to realize the first time that I can make that check at compilation time. I don't have to wait till runtime to do an if check. Okay, so let's grab that, copy all this code, say h that, and now run this. Still failed. Why did it fail? I literally copy. Data does not implement. What do you mean it doesn't implement that? What? Huh? Or I could do system. Oh, okay, fine. Let's, because it is picky in terms of that you do need the right namespaces in there. Now, how many do we have? 6. Getting better-ish. The type of namespace name custom data cannot be found. Oh. I just want a string. Okay, that's my fault. Again, Rocky, if you watch this, clip that. I just said it's my fault. Okay, so now we're going to have a whole different case of things. So let's go back and do this, run that. Get the actual code. Open the Tesla, copy pasta. And make sure that's all formatted correctly. Now what breaks? Well, still something. 2. Well, it's better than nothing. The name customization does not exist in the current context. Wait, what's the error? Customization. Oh. Now we pass. Okay. So custom serialization is now in the house. Okay. I will fix the other 2 tests off camera, off the stream, because those are simple to do. It's just boring to watch. But I'm happy with this because I will have over lunchtime. My plan today is to take a break for lunch, stop the stream, take a break for lunch, and do a couple things. And then I'm going to start streaming my gaming stuff, which is continuing my Batman Arkham Knight streams. So I'll get this committed beforehand, but nice. I'm glad that I got this in because now you can actually do custom serialization with my approach. You just have to implement this interface. I should also update the documentation, not just the change log, but let's actually get this in here. So let's say 3, not yet released. So let's say changed is not sealed to is sealed. Issue 1, because I remember it's 1. And now this one is, no, that was, what was that? I guess I don't remember. 7. Okay, 7. 7 and 7. And now this one is implemented, added support for custom serialization. And that is number 1. Number 1. Cool. Okay, I got that. I should also, I do have some documentation in the docs folder, and I should add in there that you can now actually do this. So I will put that in there as well. But this is all cool. This is great. This is awesome. Well, I'm not saying I'm awesome. I'm just saying this is awesome that I got it to work. That's cool. So I'm happy with that. And I would be making a 3.0 release because these should all be for, milestone 3.0. And that's the only one that I have. So cool. So again, my plan is to get this all committed, updated, and then do some gaming streaming this afternoon. What I do want to get back to is actually recording videos. Random streams like this for coding, I enjoy. It's fun for me. I enjoy doing it. But I also want to make sure that I'm targeting things that I don't think are going to span multiple streams. Because the way I usually do that work is I will just write and then I don't know how long it's going to take. I also want to do something that I think I could probably do in a stream or 2. The other thing is really weird, but it's nice, is the cord to my from my mic basically to my Focusrite, which goes to my computer. For whatever reason, when I got this computer and then I started noticing that I was getting like small but noticeable crackling noises. And in Camtasia, I have to do some work sometimes to try to filter that out. But I was also hearing that on live streams that I was doing. And I was like, and I would see it down here in OBS. I would see it kind of bouncing back and forth just a little bit in the audio input capture. I'm also thinking I'm picking up mic from my camera, even though it doesn't show up on my computer, because when I mute this, you can still hear me leaving the room. It's quieter, but you can still hear it. So I don't know why that's actually not muting, but never mind that. I now have a cord. I got a new cord because I figured out it was the cord from the mic to Focusrite. It was a really old cord that I think I've had for probably at this point almost 40 years from days gone by and playing bands in high school. And I think it was just starting to have issues. So I got a new cord. Sounds much better now. So now I'm like, cool, I can get back to recording videos and not have to worry about all that crackling noise. At least that's my hope. So I want to do some stuff in Rocks. A couple things that I just want to mention real quick that will be upcoming with Rocks. I will probably get rid of, if I look at issues and you look at milestones, I have an A2 milestone, which I'd have to change just because, there's been some work for A2 that I've got done. 3 of them are closed, 8 are open. Okay. And some of these I may, like static abstract members interfaces, that's what I'm actually going to push to 9. I am almost convinced myself now that I will do this. And I'm still not sure on some of these. We'll see. But one of the things for 9 that I'm considering doing is that one, but then, it's in 8. It's in A2, but it's going to have to move to 9. Hence, that's why I want to move everything to 9, because I think that's the right thing to do. No, I don't want to do 9. I want to do A2L. There we go. Okay. Where is it? Oh, I don't even have it in I don't even have it in one. This is going to move to 9, and that's going to make everything new 9 just because I want to say, okay, we're going to target .NET 9. This one's really cool because this potentially has the benefit of removing a bunch of code from Rocks. So right now in .NET, you can't pass in a ref struct to a generic argument. So you can't say like span event, pass that into a generic argument. It doesn't allow that. But you can now in .NET 9, there are these things called anti-constraints. Okay. As you can see when I was sketching out my code here, that's the stuff I currently do. So allows ref struct. Okay. And so then I don't have to generate a type or types for each ref struct that I run into, because that's the way I handle it. I currently handle ref structs, but I have to do a bunch of code generation to do it. This, I originally thought, because I ran this, I'm like, this would work. But then I realized this allows is opening. It's not closing. So if I just added this to the argument of T type that I have, predicate of T already does this. I looked at predicate of T. They already added and allows ref struct. And I think here, maybe I keep this one around, but that would just be the one. And then I just have one more. So the whole thing is all of this potentially, I've done a little bit of work here, but I haven't tried to do the thing where I generate the Rocks code that would be generated for a type that has a parameter that's like a ref struct or something like that, and then change it to see what would happen with this approach. But I have played with this in .NET 9 in 2022 preview, and it works just fine. It seems like at least this works. So my whole point is I would be able to use this existing argument of T. I could get rid of argument, the base type. I could get rid of generating a whole bunch of code. And even though that wouldn't make Rocks significantly faster in any way, because most of the time you're dealing with non-ref struct types with the types that you define and the type that you're trying to mock, I no longer would have to do at least any if switches to say, if it's a ref struct, then I got to do this. And that would all go away. All the code to generate all the ref struct types would go away. And when you do ref structs, I'm guessing it will actually be faster. Like at implementation runtime, because it will be all based on the same code. It won't be based on something that's run. I think it would be a slightly bit faster, but I want to do some code, some performance tests on that. So that one's probably going to, that's definitely one I want to do, along with doing static abstract members. I think I've convinced myself that I should at least give that a whirl and see if I can get that to happen. So those are going to be videos that will be hopefully coming out sometime, because I've put a whole pause on my free code session stuff. I've been having fun streaming, but I want to get back to doing that now. So, all right, with that, I think I am good with what I've done here. I'll do the cleanup just to make sure I got this branch committed and all that stuff. So you've been watching. I really appreciate it. Especially appreciate it if you would subscribe. I'm trying to get up to 1,000, slow but sure. But that first goal, I really want to try to get to 1,000 subscribers. So please subscribe if you haven't done that before. And with that, I am going to stop. So thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the future.